Welcome back. Good morning from me and the chickens. You get the chickens over my shoulder today. Katie and I were laughing. Somehow the chickens came up in conversation because people have commented that they really enjoy the videos where they can see the chickens over my shoulder. And I must have said something that made her think that, I don't know if you've seen yet on the member page, you can filter your videos. So if you're looking for a video that's short or outside or taught by me or taught by somebody else, you can set up all these filters. And I said something about the chicken filter, and she said, "Is there really? Is that really one where you can filter?" I said, "Maybe it should be." We have a separate designation for meditation and yoga videos where you can see chickens pecking around in the background. So I don't think people would mind. So we can tag this one, chickens in on the screen. Okay, well, as always, I invite you to notice, and if you're able to really welcome your presence. We have this wonderful perspective, or multitude of perspectives with mindfulness practice that I want to continue to encourage you to explore. And we talked a little about this in our in-person Evolve group meeting last week about the second foundation of mindfulness. The first is the awareness of body and breathing. So it's so reliable. It's always there, right? It's always there. So close to the surface. And you may even, just notice where you're touching your body, if your hands are resting on your legs, or if your feet are resting on the floor, your sitting bones against the chair. Even if your eyes are open, you can maybe see your hands or your feet. Yep, it's there. Got a body, still have a body. And then the awareness of breathing, I think, starts to come quite naturally with the awareness of body. So you might have already noticed, I did. I noticed already that I was breathing. Or you might even encourage it. And notice not only that you are breathing, but that the breath has this rhythm that includes a breath coming to you and filling you up. And then going from you. Right? There aren't too many things as a therapist, especially, that I assume about people's experience. But this first foundation of mindfulness, this is one. I feel quite certain that you, yes, have indeed verified you have a body and that you're breathing. Okay, and then that second foundation is around that, well, how maybe receptive am I, or how reluctant am I? Kind of what's the general tone or the mood of my experience this morning? Is it more of a like that? More of a kind of mood. Why am I even here? Why am I even doing this? Okay, yeah, great thought, breath. But it's fill in the blank. That's the more unpleasant end of the spectrum, right? This is not how I want it to be. Something about this is not how I want it to be. And we're quite complicated, simple creatures, or quite simple, complicated creatures. And so you might notice that there are a couple of layers. Maybe there's a part of you, a part of your experience that is unpleasant or not as you want it to be. Maybe you're not fully enlightened yet, and that's a little tiresome since you've been working on it all this time. Maybe it's just a little alignment in your shoulders, something about your posture. And I'd encourage you to be responsive in this practice, not reactive. So there's a little bit of a difference in where the motivation is coming from. Responsive is, I hear you. Can I help you? Maybe just to move the needle towards neutral, right? So maybe you're still not thrilled about the weather, or fill in the blank, something else, the fact that you're not enlightened yet. But maybe, yeah, okay. Now, of course, there are other foundational aspects of mindfulness, and no doubt, even in those brief pauses, your mind, your consciousness looks to them or dips into them. That's the foundational component of thinking itself, and of emotion or more complex feeling. Again, here we can practice responsiveness, acknowledging, and again, here's where maybe even welcoming or embracing the awareness that arises as we're here paying attention, allowing ourselves some freedom, some space to just be with our own experience in this body, breathing with this general tone, or maybe several different tones. And then maybe even with that same sort of care, allowing and encouraging, accompanying attention, as it also notices, maybe welcomes your thinking, feelings. Here is the fuel for our vehicle through this life experience. You feel it, don't you? Some power, some insistence. Maybe there's just an awareness that you keep returning to thinking, maybe even to a more specific thought. responsive, as you're able, receptive to your breath. And to your body, to your position, your posture. And then to the mind and the heart, the spirit within that drives you. With this kind of careful attention, maybe neutral or curious, then even receptive, maybe even responsive. We determine our course. So we might, in this moment, a spacious moment of reflection this morning, acknowledge, maybe articulate to yourself what you are determined to do with this. Maybe just this next breath. Maybe that quality or that feeling, that fuel, persistence, fire. Within, maybe you start to see how that intention or that articulation of what you are determined to pursue or to project. Maybe it extends beyond the cycle of the breath. Maybe you barely even got to the breath yet. So maybe patience. Here you might notice our paramis, our perfection practices weaving together to create a supportive net to hold or to catch our consciousness and to allow it to spring back when it falls. So patience, so that it's the appropriate time that we can find for this practice of determining our intention. What might we bring to this next breath? How might that extend out into this next hour, day? Our live practice here is at the beginning of the week. So maybe that course is determined for a whole week ahead, maybe a month, maybe a season. Allow it to carry you. Relax. Let it come to you. You might relax now a bit from the investigation, the exploration in the consciousness and the mind. And just together, then let's focus on the fullness of breath, inhaling through both nostrils down into the lower lobes of both lungs. You might even bring your hands down to the place where the ribs flare or down to the belly to feel that the breath expands all the way down into the abdomen. And then exhale, and you may even audibly mark your exhalation with an ah, or maybe a to relax the lips and the face. Good again. Once more together. And then maybe you press your palms together or to your brow or to your heart, some gesture that helps to anchor you again in the body that carries you, with a nod to the spirit that drives you, and a gesture too of gratitude for yourself, for clearing the way to practice, and to all of us, for we're stronger with the commitment that we make to each other, and to continuing to add to the strength of our collective practice. So may you be buoyed by this clarity, by these simple steps of coming back to body and breath, and then tone, thoughts and feelings that drive you, and then a clear determination for the next breath and then onward. Thank you for your practice.